Hi everyone, it's Jen here from This Is Daydreams, and I've got a quick tutorial for you today, which is how to knit the bramble stitch, which is the stitch I've used on my newest pattern, which is the Bubbling Cauldron book cover. It's available on my Ravelry and Payhip store, so I'll put the links in the description. So if you like this stitch and you want a kind of quick, fun little project to try them out on, then this pattern's available now. So with the bramble stitch, I've started a little swatch here. So just to tell you, so this is a DK weight yarn, and this is Countess of Blaze Rockabilly, which unfortunately Countess of Blaze doesn't exist anymore. But it's a lovely, like the green is just beautiful, and it's twisted with some black as well. So there should be other hand dyers out there that have a yarn like this, but unfortunately Countess of Blaze doesn't exist anymore. But it's a DK weight yarn, and I'm using a 4mm needle, and these are my Addy Click Basics interchangeable needle set from that set. This is the 4mm size. So with the bramble stitch, what you want is a multiple of 4 stitches plus 2. So I'm working on 18 stitches here, so that's multiple of 4 plus 2. And it's worked over a multiple of 4 rows. Sorry, just zoom in so you can see a bit better. So it's worked over a multiple of 4 rows. So you can see it's this lovely texture. This is the right side, and the wrong side is just kind of nice and flat. So we'll start off. So on this swatch, I've already knitted 2 repeats of the pattern, so I've done 8 rows. So I did a simple cast on, and I've done 8 rows so far. So we're back to the beginning of the multiple of 4 rows. So the first row is very simple, and you just want to purl across the row. I would definitely aim this stitch for adventurous beginners. So I'm just going to quickly purl because I'm going to assume you already know how to knit and purl. For this stitch, you also need to know how to purl stitches together and how to knit into the same stitch. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So if you've only really done knit and purl, definitely give this a try, because it's such a lovely texture stitch and it looks a lot more complicated than it actually is. Let's get to the end of my row here. So that's row 1 done. Purl across the row, easy peasy. So then row 2, this is where our pattern comes in. So you have a multiple of 4 stitches plus 2, and the plus 2 is you have a knit 1 at each end of the row, and that just gives it a really nice neat edge. So we're going to start off and just do our knit 1 stitch. And then so for row 2, you want to start off, do knit 1, purl 1, knit 1 into the same stitch. So I'm going to show you how to do that. A lot easier than it sounds. So I've got my working yarn at the back. I take my right hand needle and I go into the stitch as if I normally would to knit, and I put my working yarn round as if I normally do to knit. So normally you would take that stitch off and that would be a knit stitch, but for this you want to keep it on because you're increasing into that same stitch. So you take your working yarn and you put it around the back of the working needle, so in between the 2 needles and to the front, because you're going to purl next. So then you purl into that same stitch, round, and then take it off, keeping the left hand stitch on. And then at this point your needles kind of cross, so just put your working needle into the front again, take your working yarn, wrap it back round to the back of the work, and then you want to knit into that stitch again, and then you can finally take that stitch off. And so you can see there, that's my first stitch, and I've increased 3 stitches from 1 stitch. So quite easy. And then the next one is you want to purl 3 together. So you take your working yarn to the front of your working needle, and you want to purl 3 together. So you take your working needle and put it as if to purl, but you keep going. So you've got 2 and then you've got 3. Now when you're first going to do this, it's going to be a bit more fiddly because you'll get 3 stitches. Normally when you purl 2 together, that's quite easy, but I think just because there's not as much space, just be more careful with where your needles are. So you've got 3 on your working needle, and you do a purl as if you're just usually going to purl them, and then pull that yarn through. So now you've only got 1 stitch for that, and then take those 3 off your needle. So you've worked 4 stitches, they're just in a different order. So you've taken 1 stitch, increased it into 3, and taken 3 stitches and increased it into 1. So then we're just going to repeat that across the row. So then again we do our knit 1, purl 1, knit 1. Into your next stitch. And then purl 3 together. So bring your yarn round and put the 3 on both needles. So again, this is fiddly. I still struggle sometimes if I'm not paying attention. Also, it is kind of tricky when I'm trying to do it looking through my phone and not actually looking at the yarn. It might help you to like pull them near to the top. Oh, I'm really struggling with this one. I must have knitted it too tight. There we go. 3, and purl them together. Bring your yarn back round, and we're doing our knit 1, purl 1, knit 1. And you're doing your purl 3 together. I think this is also good to sort of test your knitting skills. It's quite easy, but I always forget how hard it is to purl more than 2 stitches together. So knit 1, purl 1, knit 1. And then you want to purl your 3 together. And then you come to your last stitch, and that's your knit 1. So that just helps give it a nice even edge down the side. So then we go to row 3, which is the same as row 1, and it is again a purl row. So nice and easy. I think it's quite easy to remember this one. Once you get into it, it's quite easy to remember the 4 rows. Could be called a telly knit stitch. If you're not counting too much, then yeah, definitely give it a go. So we're just purling across this row. And you might not knit like me. I'm a thrower rather than a picker, I think. But it doesn't matter as long as you're doing a purl stitch. It doesn't matter if you hold your needles differently or, you know, hold the yarn differently. That actually doesn't matter. And then we're going to row 4. So this is very, very similar to row 2. It's just you're doing them the other way around. So again, we start off with a knit stitch. And so this time we start off with purl 3 together. So that's how you get the sort of alternating bramble effect. So you purl your 3 together, and then you knit 1, purl 1, knit 1 into the same stitch, and again continue across the row. But yeah, that's how it kind of gives you the alternating pattern. And that's why I say I think it's quite an easy stitch to remember, because you're either purling or you're doing a pattern, and hopefully you should remember what you did. Again, use a row counter just in case you forget. It's always these purl threes I'm struggling on. I think I can't look as well as I can when I've got my phone in front of me. Okay, so knit one, purl one, knit one. So when you're working the pattern, that's the wrong side of the fabric, and it's the way it kind of bulks out, it kind of pushes it out to the back. Which is unusual, because usually when you knit, the sort of patterned textured stitches are at the front, but not in this one. I actually really love this. I really love this stitch. It's called the Bramble stitch, but in my pattern, it looked like the top of a bubbling cauldron, which is why I called it the Bubbling Cauldron book cover. And also this brilliant spooky green. Oh, I'm struggling with this last one. Ooh. I'm sorry, I can't. It's because I'm trying to do it with the camera in front of me. Right, let's go. There we go. Of course, it's the last one I do. And then, so our second to last is our knit one, purl one, knit one. And then our last stitch is knit one. Give it the nice straight edge. So that's the back. So then, as you can see, this is the right side of our swatch. Try and get to focus, there we go. So you can see the alternating brambles there. So hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Leave me a comment if you have any questions, and please go and check out my Ravelry or Payhip store and have a look at the Bubbling Cauldron book cover if you like this stitch and you want a nice quick pattern. Bye!